Is there visible cloud of war looming over Ethiopia? Tigray President Tadesse Werede passed some remarks about the possibility of war in Ethiopia. What did he say? What did he mean? Secondly, revelations about Ethiopia Somaliland memorandum of understanding, which was signed last year, could not be implemented. Government was changed in Somaliland. New president took office. What happened? Well, the former president of Somaliland, Muse Abdi, has given an interview, and he has shared details of what led to the postponement of implementation of MoU signed by Ethiopia and Somaliland. Which players intervened? Did Somaliland drag its feet, or Ethiopia was responsible? What did Musi Bhai Abdi say in this interview? It's a very interesting interview because Ethiopia and Somaliland, they were keen to implement the MOU in January last year. Then things changed. Let's start with the new story about possibility or likelihood of war in Ethiopia. Everyone is talking about it. I am doing videos on it, regular videos to keep you informed. Jawar spoke about it. Jawar Mohammed spoke about it last night. He said that Prosperity Party is holding meetings in the Somali region, in Oromia, preparing the people for invasion of Eritrean support. I did a video. I said that meetings have been held on Monday and Tuesday in Oromia, and on Thursday and Friday in the Amhara region. Definitely something is cooking up. Something is being cooked up by the ruling party in Ethiopia. Meanwhile, Tigray obviously will be a main player, one of the main players if anything happens, if war erupts. Tadesse Werede, Tigray president, this week spoke about the possibility of war in Ethiopia. What did he say? Tadesse Werede attended a program organized in Tigray. It was attended by Emmanuel Assefa, TPLF Deputy Chairman, Tigray Deputy President. Debretsion Gabriel Mikhail was also there, who is chairman of the TPLF. And there, reportedly, General Tadesse Werede, Tigray president, made two very important points. Almost quote unquote, I am sharing with you what he said. Tadesse Werede said, there is visible cloud of war over Ethiopia. So everyone is saying that there are fears that war could erupt in Ethiopia. Werede said that since there is visible cloud of war over Ethiopia, that is why Tigray should strengthen itself. Tigray forces should strengthen themselves. What does it mean, by the way? How will Tigray forces strengthen themselves? Obviously, through recruitments, through procurement of weapons, through trainings, through formation of alliances, through diplomatic work, through storing supplies, storing fuel, etc. I think I covered all these points which I mentioned in videos. Procurement of weapons, I made a video on it. I informed you that Tigray was buying weapons through Eritrea, through Sudan. I told you about storing of supplies too, which are coming in from out of Tigray. I did videos on the formation of alliances to involving Tigray and other players in the region like Eritrea, like Fano, like TPLF. I talked about diplomacy work too, which is being done by TPLF and Tigray military. So when you acknowledge, when a region acknowledges the gravity of the situation, it means the region would be preparing to counter the untoward situation. Definitely, Tigray is also making preparations. Eritrea making preparations. ENDF doing the same. Everyone is preparing for the worst case scenario, and that is war. Now, is Muse Abdi, former Somaliland president, has shared some revelations in an interview about Ethiopia Somaliland memorandum of understanding. Last year, in January 2024, Ethiopia and Somaliland signed an MoU. Musi Abdi was the president back then in Somaliland. He came to Addis Ababa, where he and Ethiopian PM signed the MoU. MoU was never made public, but Ethiopian officials, Somaliland leaders told us that the MoU would grant Ethiopia access to sea. Ethiopia will have control of a strip of coastal land on Somaliland coast. It will have control over the corridor too, from Ethiopian border to the coast in Somaliland. And then we heard about some places which were being considered for the establishment of Ethiopian naval base in Somaliland. In return, Somaliland was to get recognition as a country from Ethiopia and shares in Ethiopian profitable entities. The MoU could not make progress because Somalia launched a campaign. Egypt, Eritrea stood with Somalia. Strong statements were issued by African Union, by EU, by Arab League, by UN. No one supported Ethiopian case for sea access. But Ethiopia kept on saying that it will implement the MoU. Then I think in November last year, election was held in Somaliland. Musibi Abdi lost and Abdirahman Ero was elected as the new president. And I said, if you remember in November, that Musibi Abdi is the victim of Abiy's wrong foreign policy. Basically, Ethiopian PM threw Musibi Abdi under the bus. Musibi Abdi lost because he failed to implement the MoU and his popularity at home declined. Abdirahman Ero has not been showing interest in reviving the MoU with Ethiopia. Now, Musibi Abdi has shared revelations. What happened? Why didn't Ethiopia implement the MoU? Musibi Abdi gave an interview and he said in that interview that Ethiopia is responsible for delay in implementing the MoU. He said African organizations put pressure on Ethiopia. African Union was one of them. Arab League also exerted pressure. And at one point, it was being considered that African Union headquarters should be relocated from Addis Ababa to another African country. Ethiopia gave in to the pressure. Secondly, Musi Abdi mentioned the US too, that US did not fully support Ethiopian case for sea access through Somaliland. That is why Ethiopia backed off. Somaliland remained committed, but Ethiopia backed off. This is what Musibi Abdi said. Secondly, he said that Ethiopian Prime Minister wanted reconciliation between former president of Somalia, Abdullahi Farmajo, and Somaliland government of Muse Abdi. And PM Abiy asked Farmajo to visit Hargeisa. Muse Abdi says that when he learnt about Farmajo's visit of Hargeisa, he called Farmajo and he said, and he told Farmajo that Farmajo should come to Hargeisa on Somaliland's terms. That visit was cancelled. Had Farmajo visited Hargeisa and the two had talked about union, about federation, formation of federation, that would have been another political loss for Musibi Abdi. So Musibi Abdi is not happy with Ethiopian government, Ethiopian Prime Minister. Is blaming Ethiopia for not implementing the MoU. And that is what I think we have been saying in the last over a year, that basically Ethiopia dragged its feet. Somaliland was committed. Why? Because Somaliland saw first real chance of recognition as a country, which was part of MoU. But Ethiopia gave in to the pressure. It backed off. Thank you for watching.